With the release of Chapter 5 in Fortnite, there is a new type of movement, and a lot of people are having trouble adjusting to this movement, which is why I'm making this video. I'm going to be giving you guys tips and tricks along with some new build moves that you can use to master this meta. Timestamps are down below if you want to skip around. Let's first talk about why it's harder to build in this season. When you're walking, you now move 10% slower than the previous season. Let me just tell you this, in creative mode, you move the same speed as you used to in the old season, but in the actual game, you move a little bit slower. I don't know why they didn't match those two speeds out, but they didn't. But because you move slower now while walking, the main thing I'm going to be talking about in this video is using sprinting while building. Think about it. If everybody else is moving 10% slower, but you're sprinting around in a build fight, you're going to be moving way faster than them and have way more opportunities to outplay them. Makes sense, right? That's why throughout this video, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different moves you can do while sprinting. At this point in the video, I recommend pausing and opening up my Jivan's how to build map, code down below. This map has a bunch of different drills where you can practice different build moves in the game, and we're going to be using a lot of those drills in this video. But for the first couple moves, we're just going to hop into the free build room. The first and most basic move we're going to start with is just sprinting while ramp rushing. This is something that shouldn't be too hard for you to do, but if you haven't already practiced it, you just sprint and jump. And when you jump, you extend more ramps far from you. So if you're both ramp rushing up towards each other and you're sprinting and they're not, you're gonna get high ground every single time. Typically, the start of a fight isn't that simple though. A lot of times the enemy is going to beat you to high ground. So if that's the case, once you get to like this point right here, instead of just continuing to sprint up, you can place high walls just like that. I'll do it in slow motion for you. So basically, you're just going to look up and place walls just all around like this, and then jump onto a ramp and place it above and below you. If they were above you, that top ramp would protect you. If they're on one of these walls, you can maybe piece control them and take a shot. So what I want you to do is practice sprinting, placing these walls, and then just sprinting again. Just get in the habit of being able to do those high walls consistently off your sprint. It's a good skill to have. The goal by the end of this video is that at any point in the fight where you can sprint, you should be in the habit of doing that. Like let's say I was just building up and I do a 90 here, I would want to sprint up that 90 when I'm extending that ramp, right? A lot of people would just walk up here and like maybe just keep building, but I want you to get in the habit of sprinting anytime you have a slow part of your builds. So like right here, I could sprint, maybe go up again. So the next step of what I want you to practice is just doing exactly that. Do a 90, and once you come off of the 90 and you extend that ramp, sprint for a little bit, and then do another 90, maybe two 90s, and sprint 90, sprint 90, maybe a reverse 90 like that, and then sprint just anytime you have an opportunity to. Additionally, you could also practice doing a 180. So sprint, every single time you turn around. The way you do this, by the way, if you're more of a beginner player, you just hold the wall out, turn, and the walls will just drag with you, and then you jump on a ramp. But you want to try to jump up the ramp rather than like, let's say I turned around and jumped like backwards like that. That's not the goal. You want to wait to jump until you're fully turned around and facing the other direction. That way you land as high up the ramp as possible. But just practice sprinting after every single one of those turns. The next thing we need to practice is how to do side jumps while sprinting. If you've never done a side jump before, start out by just doing this. You side jump around the cone, land on a floor, and then place walls. Or you can place walls while you're in midair and then land on a floor. That's the better version because you block your angles sooner. Typically, the reason you do a side jump is because the enemy gets a cone or floor over you, so you want to get out here so you don't get shot. So you just side jump around the side like that. Once you get that down, you can practice doing that while sprinting. And that looks like that. To make it even more protective, you can place a ramp behind you after doing that side jump to protect your top. So practice doing this until you have this first version down, and then we can move on to high walls while doing side jumps. A high wall side jump is where you get this extra wall a layer up here. From here, you could set up a peak if they were 2 layers above you, or piece control through on them. It's a very useful skill to have and definitely worth practicing while sprinting because then you can get that piece control just a little bit faster and maybe outplay the opponent in a fight. Practice doing it from both sides as well, because sometimes this right side will be blocked off and you'll have to do it out the left side. So it's good to have that versatility. You also want to practice it without just placing these front walls. You also sometimes want to place these walls and these walls because it just leaves these angles open and you could get shot. Sometimes I'll just go ahead and place them behind me like this. If you're placing this floor over you consistently, it means you're just not looking down fast enough to place the bottom floor. It's really hard to do, but if you ever do place that, just edit through. It's not a big deal. But this is what it looks like doing it from behind. And this is what it looks like doing it from in front. Once you have that down, you're honestly really good at side jumps at this point, but there's one other move you could learn if you want to just go crazy. So this is called an elevated side jump, where you land on a ramp on top of your floor. This gets you up an extra layer so that you don't have to jump again and place the ramp. If you can get this down while sprinting and placing walls like that, this is a really good move to have, because as soon as you land, you can start sprinting again. That would look just like this. So you can just sprint right after landing. You can even do this with high walls and landing on the ramp, but that's so crazy, I don't even know if I want to attempt it. Let's see. Ooh, first try. So yeah, if you want to go absolutely crazy, try to learn that. Another place where you can commonly put sprinting is right after doing the sway retake, which I've put in a few other videos, but if you don't know what it is, it looks like this, where you place a ramp, walls above you, and then a ramp on top. It blocks all these angles. You can even block the left side by doing it from that side. And you can edit through this wall if you need to change directions. You can even flip this ramp and land on top, just like that. So it's a very versatile and protective move, but where does sprinting come into play with this? So after doing the sway retake, you can sprint up this ramp. So I do the retake, I extend this ramp, and just like in 90s, when you extend a ramp from you can sprint up it. And honestly, after doing this retake, let's say I was boxed up, okay? And I'm going out the side here, then I extend this ramp. I could sprint up that and do this kind of protective 90, which I do a lot, and then you could sprint from here. Let me show you what that looks like in slow motion. So we go out this wall, we extend the ramp, we sprint, and then we swing back walls into place while jumping up and doing a 90. The reason we swing the back walls first is because typically when we're doing this, the enemy is going to be behind us. That's why we're blocking this angle. So we can sprint up and just block that angle as we go up further. That's gonna be the fastest way to get high ground. If you can learn this whole retake, you're gonna be set up. I'll try to do it one more time perfect for you here. So we're boxed up and we go ahead and do the whole retake. Looks just like that. That is going to get you up like 4 or 5 layers super quickly and over the enemy while being fully protected. So as I mentioned earlier, there's lots of other drills in this map that you can practice, and I have a video breaking down how to do all of these drills. I'll put that down in the description. But there's 2 drills that you can practice sprinting in. First off, the side jump drill. You can practice the side jumps that we just learned. You just sprint and side jump, just like we just talked about. And you can practice doing this against a little orb here. But the other drill is tunneling, and this is something we haven't talked about yet. So in endgame, this new movement kind of messed me up the other day in a tourney a lot. And I noticed that somebody in the tourney was basically sliding while doing their tunneling, and that made it so that they wouldn't lose momentum every time you turn sideways like this. Once again, creative mode, the movement isn't the same as in-game. Like if you do this in-game, it's actually going to slow you down a lot. So what I saw the guy doing was he was sliding. That way he wouldn't lose his momentum while tunneling. So what you can do is practice sliding during this tunnel drill and get this down in creative while you're not under pressure. And if you can get this down comfortably, it's definitely going to help you out in tourneys. You can even practice sprinting and sliding, which is a lot harder to do. I honestly really need to practice this. I can't even show it very well. But if you can get this down, I'm telling you, it's definitely going to help you out. Just like that, sprint, slide. That's all the moves I'm going to teach you in this video, but just a reminder for you guys, make sure at any point in a fight, you're trying to get in the habit of utilizing sprinting. Beyond just the moves that I showed you in this video, any chance you have an opportunity to sprint, do it, because it's going to get you ahead in the fight. Don't forget to check out Forever Zone Wars code down below. I got lots more content on the way as well, so stay tuned and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.